Attorneys on Retainer, the industry leader in self-defense, raises the bar again with a huge new benefit for all of our members. Stay tuned. This is attorney Andy Marcantel and attorney Marc J. from the Attorneys for Freedom Law Firm, here today to talk about something we are very excited to talk about, a new benefit. This might be one of the biggest ones we've ever rolled out.
Dude, this one is probably my favorite of all the benefits, although I gotta say, exclusively representing people in self-defense, saying we don't do anything but self-defense, that seems pretty big too. But man, watching you record that teaser, Andy, saying the industry leader, AOR is the industry. You just made a bold claim right there, my friend.
Yes, I said the industry leader very intentionally, purposefully, and ethically, because we spoke to our ethics counsel. There's certain rules, you see, about how attorneys can advertise. We can't just say anything. We can't say, we're just the best law firm ever. There's certain rules that regulate how lawyers are allowed to advertise. And we presented our case that we are the industry leader to our ethics counsel, who then said, yeah, you can say that.
It's all about, can you back up the statement? So let's back it up, my man.
Absolutely. So why is AOR the industry leader? We changed the entire game in this field. When we showed up on the game, most of these insurance-backed programs had a number of huge exclusions that firearms owners were worried about whenever they were involved in a self-defense incident. They worried they would have their coverage dropped from one of these little snags in their contracts. Well, we went to war with that concept.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say we dropped in like an 800-pound gorilla. But to be fair, all we really did, or all I really did, was just read the contracts, right? I mean, understandably, people don't want to read these contracts. They just want to sign, get it done. Who wants to sit down and read a contract? But I did that. And when I did that and read the contract, and people can look up these videos if they want, everything I said, here's what it says. And we put the contract up on the screen. People were horrified by the exclusions. Like, for example, criminal acts exclusion. There were many different exclusions: sensitive areas, illegal weapons, prohibited possessors, domestic violence. How big is that one, right? If it arises out of domestic violence, bam, no coverage for you. So, and there were several others, and people were horrified by that. And not only did we break into the industry with contracts that don't have these exclusions, we specifically listed out those exclusions and said, these are not exclusions in AOR.
Yeah, we have what we call our proud list of non-exclusions. Maybe we'll throw the chart up on the screen right now, but we lay it all out for everybody. Here's what we cover, and here's what our competitors in the marketplace cover. And if you put us side by side, we are hands down the industry leader in terms of coverage.
Yeah, we created a whole chart comparing and contrasting. But anyways, that was big. Still waiting for our competition to match that. Still waiting for one of our competitors to say, you know what? We do not exclude criminal acts when we determine whether somebody gets coverage. I mean, you're charged with a crime, right? Do you really want to navigate a criminal acts exclusion? I wouldn't. AOR is still the only game in town with no criminal acts exclusion. And by the way, sensitive areas, how big is this? With all the anti-gun states trying to make essentially their whole states sensitive areas. So anyways, that was a huge, in my view, industry-leading type of an innovation that still nobody has matched us on. We invite them to match us, but don't hold your breath on that one, because we're a law firm and we got lawyers on staff who like to do cases.
Yeah, that's right. The reason we were able to make this shift in the industry is because we're a law firm. We're not an insurance company. We're not a club. We're an actual law firm, which leads to another way we've revolutionized the industry, which is with attorney-client privilege connecting from the very first phone call. People of our program know we've got our 24/7, 365 strike force constantly round the clock, staffed by attorneys who are ready to go in case of an emergency. They can give you the advice you need in that situation right there. And importantly, the attorney-client privilege connects from that very first phone call. Nothing that you say can be discovered by the state, by the prosecutor, by the cops. It's all protected.
Yeah, so there it is. Number 2, innovation in the industry. Why can we do this? Because we're the only law firm in the game. And so when you deal directly with a law firm, you got attorney-client privilege right then and there. We've had some other situations where people have called one of these sort of clubs and spoken to a non-attorney, not from a law firm. Prosecutors aren't dumb. They can figure this out, and there have been cases where they have moved for a subpoena from the judge to try to do a deposition of the person who took that phone call. Imagine that. You're freaked out. You just had a shooting. You just called. You spoke to somebody, and everything you said in that phone call, it can be brought into your trial and used against you. Man, what a huge problem. Some of our competitors have tried to hire attorneys to sort of staff their phone. Okay, that's great, but you're not going to have that attorney on your case, right? Still, when you talk to an attorney from our law firm, that very attorney, right from that first phone call, if you go to trial, that attorney is going to be sitting in a chair at your trial trying your case. You are speaking to your attorney, not just an attorney who doesn't have to own the advice they give you in that first phone call.
So not only did we raise the bar in terms of coverage and attorney-client privilege, but we made a huge change at our law firm to reflect the fact that we wanted to lead the industry in self-defense cases. What did we do? We changed our practice exclusively to self-defense cases. That is all we do. We don't dabble in these cases. All we do is self-defense cases.
Yeah, and this is something, we continually research. To the best of our knowledge, we are the only law firm in the entire nation that exclusively practices in self-defense. Like, why is this a big deal? Well, every AOR case is a self-defense case, so you want a lawyer who specializes in self-defense law. That specialization at our firm really allows our lawyers to dig deep and learn every aspect of self-defense. They don't have to dabble and play around with DUIs and drug cases and thefts and other kinds of cases. It's all we do. And it's great to be able to say we're the only law firm in the entire nation that does nothing but self-defense cases.
And it's great to use our influence and our program to defend individuals throughout the United States. But another way that we've revolutionized the industry is by looking at the big picture. Now, we're the Attorneys for Freedom. That's a cool name, but it ain't just a name. We are activists at this law firm. We have been for years. And so we use part of the funds that we receive from the AOR program in order to promote activism. We file amicus briefs to promote freedom issues throughout the United States. We're always on the lookout for pro bono cases of self-defenders who are getting railroaded by the system. So we like to use part of our members' money in order to finance causes for freedom.
Yeah, good luck with our competitors matching us here. I hope they do, right? We should all be fighting together for freedom. So please, I'm asking, and it's a call to our competition, match us on this. Let's all raise the standard in the industry. Commit to bringing lawyers to the table who do nothing but self-defense. Commit to doing something to advocate for freedom for everybody like we do at our law firm as a result of the AOR program.
So, Mark, just because we're the industry leaders doesn't mean we shouldn't be always striving towards improving our program and giving our clients more and more benefits. And I have to give you credit for this one, Mark. You came up with this idea. And I remember we were in Hawaii together, and you and I started kind of hashing it out. And we're like, that's a great idea. And it really is the best way that we can defend our clients.
This is really a function of the lawyers we got, right? I say sometimes a pack of wild wolves or junkyard dogs. Like, our lawyers want to try cases. Every time a trial comes up, you know how it goes, Andy. Every lawyer at the firm wants in on that trial. That's just the kind of team that we have. We got lawyers who like what they do and who are aggressive in the courtroom. So I thought to myself, why not put more lawyers on a case? Like, what we've said to clients from the beginning is, look, we are going to give you the best defense possible, which means even if you got unlimited funds, our goal is to make it so you still can't get a better defense at any price.
So to understand why this is important, have you ever wondered why when the rich and famous go to trial, they've got more than one lawyer? In fact, they have a whole legal team, a whole bunch of lawyers in the courtroom during trial. You ever wonder why that is? So we've put together a nice list of some notable high-profile cases, and wouldn't you know, they all share one thing in common. No matter the defendant, if they're rich and they're famous, they've got a team of lawyers.
You know, people who have been around a little bit longer remember the O.J. trial. This happened back in 1994. Man, when O.J. Simpson goes to trial, he doesn't have just one lawyer. Why do you think O.J. wanted 6 lawyers on his team?
All right, well, next on the list here, remember Kyle Rittenhouse, a very important case for self-defense from 2021. Multiple lawyers on that team.
Yeah, multiple lawyers on this one as well.
Alec Baldwin, another big celebrity. You remember his shooting case on the set of Rust.
We keep seeing the same thing, rich and famous. They want more than one lawyer.
Yep. Other big high-profile prosecutions. George Zimmerman. Hey, we've worked with Mark O'Mara before.
Yes,
one of the defense, the lead counsel on this case. Mark O'Mara counts for like at least 2 attorneys. I've worked with the guy. Aaron Hernandez, defense team. Very, very high-profile case. Hey, wouldn't you know? Look at all those lawyers. Multiple lawyers in trial, ready to go.
What a surprise. When you have the money, you bring more than one lawyer to court.
And the list could go on and on and on. I challenge you to tell me the last time you saw a celebrity walk into court for trial and there's only one lawyer sitting next to them. You're not going to see that very often. They're usually surrounded by a very competent legal team.
And, you know, Andy, this is so obvious, but this is well recognized in the legal profession, right? When you have a case, take, for example, a death penalty case, a capital trial, well, it's not the law in every state. It is the law in many states that you have to have at least 2 trial attorneys on every death penalty case. Indeed, the American Bar Association recommends at least 2 lawyers on every death penalty trial. Why do you think they recommend more than one?
Yeah, so why does the ABA recommend this? Why do rich celebrities hire a huge defense team? The simple answer is this. More lawyers at trial is better than one. And there's lots of reasons for that, which we should talk about. First of all, just having more brains on the case. And we reflect this whenever we're prepping for cases. We get all the lawyers into the conference room and we start talking about legal issues. If you miss a legal issue, you know, you could have the best lawyer in the world, but if they miss a legal issue, then it's not going to benefit you in any way. So having more lawyers to brainstorm the legal issues and the strategy in and of itself is valuable.
Yeah, and things happen quick at trial. Issues arise all the time. There's so much going on at trial. There's so much to prepare for. It's a huge advantage to have multiple attorneys on the defense team at trial.
Yeah, and all of the lawyers are also watching now for objections from the other side. If you have multiple lawyers putting their brains together to watch for objectionable material, you're going to catch more of those evidentiary issues and things of that nature.
Yeah, think about the preparation on each individual witness, right? Imagine assigning one lawyer. Look, this is your witness. Think about this in the case of an expert, for example. Not just are you prepared to deal with that expert and to know the material, especially for lawyers, right? You really got to bone up on the expert's material. But what is the value of boning up on the transcripts that the expert has produced in previous trials to know what they've said in the past? So if that expert says something different at this trial, you can say, excuse me, Mr. Expert, do you recall testifying 10 years ago in case such and such versus such and such where you said the following thing? Like, that's so powerful. And it's almost impossible to have that level of preparation if you have only one lawyer sitting at the defense table prepping every single witness at trial.
Yeah, you'll actually see this whenever a rich and famous person goes to trial. There are members of their legal team who specialize in a certain type of witness. I remember, for example, you mentioned the OJ case. Famously, there was a lawyer who was specifically there. Yeah, Scheck was specifically there to talk to the DNA witness because that was his specialization. So each lawyer on that team kind of divided and conquered and specialized in different witnesses while still all working together and brainstorming in real time.
Yeah, think about the value of as soon as an issue comes up at trial, one lawyer is sort of peeled off the team. Look, you work on researching that right now in real time before we move forward. There are just too many tasks to do at trial to have one lawyer do everything really to perfection. The benefits, and having tried death penalty cases myself and worked with other lawyers, it's invaluable to have another lawyer. It's one thing to talk to lawyers before you go to trial. It's another thing to have another lawyer sitting there at trial where you can brainstorm, bounce ideas off of each other. One can do one task, the other can do the other. Invaluable on a death penalty case. Why wouldn't we want to bring this level of representation to our clients as well in every case?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, Mark, and another practical concern. You and I have tried many cases together. We have never tried a case where a new issue didn't arise in the middle of trial that warranted a motion to dismiss or an evidentiary motion or something of that nature. And so we needed to quickly prep all that and work together in order to do that. You and I have had nights where in the middle of trial, we're up until midnight revising, writing a new motion or revising our argument for the next day. It's just much more efficient to do this with more lawyers. You can imagine if that was all on one person, especially in a very serious charge like the one you're likely to face if you act in self-defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be a lawyer who comments on self-defense cases and this and that. It's another thing to be a lawyer who's in the trenches, who tries cases. If you talk to trial lawyers, and really this applies to all kinds of trials, every trial lawyer will tell you, kind of like what Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Mm-hmm. And every trial is like that. Things don't go as planned. Issues always arise. If you really want the best defense, you need multiple lawyers on your team sitting there in the courtroom at your trial.
And at the end of every day, you get transcripts of what transpired in court that day. So to be able to divide and conquer the witness testimony and the transcripts at the end of trial for the day so that you can better prepare for maybe cross-examination the next day. There's just so many tasks, endless tasks, not to mention oftentimes we find ourselves needing to research things in real time. And you can't listen to a witness's testimony and be prepared for objections while also researching an evidentiary issue on Westlaw at the same time. It's just not sufficient for how serious these types of cases are.
How many times you've been sitting there at trial, right? Thinking about your next question, listening to objections, thinking about what's coming next, having the client tapping you on the shoulder. What does this mean? What does that mean? Like there are too many things going on. Wouldn't it be great to take a lawyer and say, look, you are the lawyer who deals with the client and the client's concerns and questions. Sometimes clients have excellent insights because at the end of the day, they know the facts better than anybody else. They may want to throw something on the table maybe we didn't know about. We have to have a way to communicate with the client while also dealing with the trial. And sure, one lawyer can do this as best as you can, but it just doesn't compete to have multiple lawyers sitting there all working on different tasks at the trial.
Yeah, and our pledge with AOR is to give our members the absolute best defense that is possible in a case. And, if we were dealing with lesser charges here, right? If what our program covered was DUI coverage or something like that in misdemeanor court, then providing one lawyer might be sufficient. We might be able to back it up that, one lawyer will be sufficient for the best possible defense. But given the nature and severity of the charges that you're likely to face if you act in self-defense, especially with a firearm, something like aggravated assault or a homicide charge, it's just not sufficient to have only one lawyer if the goal is to provide the absolute best defense. So this got us thinking, we need to supply our AOR clients not with one lawyer, with a legal team. We want to provide our clients the exact same type of legal team and expertise that the rich and famous can get.
Okay, so to be clear, because I want to be crystal clear on this, from this moment forward, if you are an AOR client and you go to trial on a felony case, you will have 4 lawyers in the courtroom with you. And we're not just talking the talk, we're putting it in our contract. Let me put it up on the screen for you so I can show you what it says. I'm now referring to Section 3, subsection F of the contract. Here's what it now says. Quote, at any felony trial, AFF shall provide 4 lawyers in the courtroom. There it is, folks. It's in writing.
And keep in mind, 3 of your lawyers are going to specialize in self-defense because they're from the Attorneys for Freedom law firm, and this is all we do. So that 4th lawyer, that's going to be your choice of lawyer from your local community. You pick your favorite lawyer who you like, And if you don't know one, that's actually our preference,
It
Mark,
is.
because we like to hand select the best lawyer for the case.
And to be fair, we've been collecting quite a network of attorneys across the nation who we've already worked with, who have impressed us, where we have gone back to them again and say, hey, we got another case in your state. Can you jump in? You did a great job last time. So that's true. If you got someone you love, fine. If not, let us pick the best lawyer for your 4-attorney team at trial.
Yes. And you're still going to get all of our experts, all of our mitigation specialists, all of our paralegals. You're going to have at least 2 dedicated paralegals assigned per case, but usually we get more involved if it's a more serious charge. So we're looking to bring the dream team here. We want to put together the Justice League, and we want to bring it for every single case and give the $1 million defense to every single client. Now, this new benefit, like so many other great new benefits that we're offering in the upgraded program, is only available to people who have upgraded their account to the new Attorneys on Retainer Association plan. So if you signed up to be an Attorneys on Retainer client after April 1st, 2025, good news, you're covered and you don't need to do anything. You're going to get this great new benefit. But if you signed up before April 1st, 2025, make sure to upgrade your account to the new program. Now, we're going to put the instructions for how to upgrade your account on the screen right now so you guys can make sure that you're going to get this great new benefit. If you don't upgrade, you're not going to get the benefits of the 4-lawyer package.
Yeah, man, I think about this as the heavy trial package because really, if you're going to trial on a felony case, what you care about is the best possible defense here. You oftentimes don't get a second chance here. And so having 4 lawyers, 3 of whom specialize in self-defense and the other 4th local attorney who you pick, all working together on your case, sitting there in the courtroom every day of your trial, I don't know how we could possibly bring a better criminal defense in a self-defense case for felony trials for our AOR clients than this new innovation.
Yeah, keep in mind, most of these insurance-backed programs don't even have lawyers per se. They have a network, right? They have a network of attorneys, and they call somebody in their network, and they hire that person in order to take the case. We're a law firm. We actually have a dedicated team of lawyers. We also have a network, so you get the best of both worlds. You get the best person in your area, and we fly out to you, 3 self-defense specialized lawyers to create the dream team, plus all the experts, plus the paralegals. We are really up in the game in the industry with this one, Mark.
Yeah, we're definitely bringing it. You know what we're doing? We're bringing it like we would want it brought for us if we were the defendant in a felony self-defense case. Some of our competitors do not have any lawyers on staff, right? They got to contract with lawyers, but the lawyers they contract with have to generally agree to follow their guidelines, their requirements. These can involve all kinds of problems like reporting things, possibly to an insurance company, possibly the billing rate. Like many of these contracts that I've read through, it says they have the lawyer that you get to select may have to be approved by them in the first place and has to agree to their billing guidelines. How much are you going to pay for a lawyer to defend you hourly? We never get that information in these contracts. You don't have to deal with any of that with AOR. You know exactly who your lawyers are. If you don't want the Attorneys for Freedom on your team, AOR is not the right program for you. If you know who we are, you know how we're committed to excellence, you know we're committed to self-defense cases. If we're the lawyers you want on your team, AOR is the only game in town.
Yeah, when people sign up for these programs, there's lots of different interests, right? There's lots of different things that they might be interested in when they're shopping around and trying to decide which one of these programs is right for them. There are different interests they might have, right? For example, the training is something that competitors offer that maybe they like with a different program, and maybe that's their primary focus when they're shopping around. But if your primary interest is to have an awesome legal defense team in case you are charged with a crime from acting in self-defense, look no further than Attorneys on Retainer.
Yeah, and as a criminal defense lawyer who's been doing this for over 31 years now, I can tell you, if you are facing a felony jury trial and you're looking at years of your life in prison, what you care about at that moment is having the best committed team in trial with you, sitting there at the table, focused on the one issue that matters in your case, which is self-defense. If that's what you care about, and it will be what you care about if you're facing a trial, nobody can compete with us in this industry on this point.
You mentioned something earlier about how our competitors in the field have tried to improve certain aspects of their program to match what AOR has been up to ever since we busted onto the scene a couple of years ago. And we think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I like to see them attempting at least to improve their contracts, though not all of those attempts have been successful. We have generally seen a rise in the quality of these programs ever since we busted onto the scene a couple of years ago. And so we want the same thing to happen here. So this is a challenge to all of our competitors in this field to raise the bar with us. We challenge you to match this new benefit that we are offering. Make sure to give your clients 4 lawyers. Make sure to give them a full, competent legal team if they have to defend themselves in court.
You know, Andy, I've heard other company representatives say they're big fans of the free market, that they love competition. Well, so do we. We're free market capitalists. We love competition. We want to see everybody in this industry raise the bar. At the end of the day, we're all in it together, right?
That's
We
right.
all have to deal with the same freedoms in terms of firearms. We all got to deal with the challenges of defending yourself in court if you get charged. We don't want to see good people going to prison for things that really should be legitimate acts of self-defense. So the better defense everybody gets in this industry, the happier we all are. So let's all raise the bar together.
So that is the new benefit, my friends. You will have 4 lawyers in trial if your case goes to trial on a felony case. And great news, it's automatically grandfathered in. You don't have to sign any new paperwork. We're updating our contract, which is available on our website, and it will now reflect that you are going to get what we've been calling the heavy package. You're going to get that full dream team showing up to defend you in trial.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. At the end of the day, it's easy to say you're committed to excellence. It's a lot harder to actually be committed to excellence and deliver people really what they want here, which is peace of mind, right? We know what our market is concerned about. We got people who are worried that they're going to pull out a firearm and act in self-defense, are still going to get charged, and they're not going to be able to marshal the resources to really fight the state. That's all we do. We're on your side. We bring it exactly the way we would want it brought for us. I've been saying it since day one. We offer the defense we ourselves would want if we found ourselves in that situation. If I was going to trial and say, Andy, get everybody together. I want everybody in the courtroom. Let's get the best defense here. If we're going to do it for me, why wouldn't we do it for our AOR clients?
Yes, and as you mentioned, our staff is going to be very happy about this too, because whenever one of these cases come in, all the attorneys, all the paralegals are fighting to be involved in that trial. They're exciting, and they're very rewarding for us to go through as lawyers as well with our clients. And so the fact that more of them will get to be involved in more of these trials will be great. It'll be a total win-win. That's my favorite part about this, is that this is a total win-win between our law firm and our clients. All right, everybody, if you want to learn about the industry-leading self-defense program, go and check out attorneysonretainer.us. You'll learn all about our self-defense program and what it can do for you. Also, go check out attorneysforfreedom.com if you want to learn more about our law firm and how we defend people in the criminal justice system. Until next time, this has been attorneys Andy Marcantel and Marc J. Victor signing out.
Peace.